Some on the ground here on the pavement.
Dramatic rescue. Watch as crews save a snowmobiler buried under feet of snow following an avalanche.
He told us he was okay, and we proceeded to dig him out.
The new weather radar technology that could soon improve forecasting.
It's about to undergo a major transformation.
And new information on the baby seal found wandering the streets of Connecticut.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. As many as 200 cold temperature records could fall over the next 3 days as bitterly cold Arctic air settles over the nation's midst. Extreme cold warnings, which are in dark blue right there, extend from the Canadian border all the way to the southern border of Texas. Combined with cold weather advisories in light blue, nearly 135 million Americans face cold alerts. Now, records have in some cases already fallen today in Rapid City, South Dakota, where it was 19 below zero. Oklahoma, Dallas, and Austin, Texas also set record lows this morning. More records will likely fall tomorrow in places like Birmingham, Memphis, and New Orleans as the cold air moves east. There's even a freeze warning in Florida. Kayla Christian is in Little Rock this morning where it's 11 degrees and wind chills last night were 10 below zero.
I could ice skate for you right now just to demonstrate what this sheet of ice behind me looks like. And this is what lots of residential areas and side streets are looking like for people who are going to be getting out and about today. Now, we've taken a look earlier at the interstate and yeah, it's pretty passable. But of course, there are things like black ice that people are going to have to look for. But you might see some cars going pretty fast behind me because those areas don't have as much ice on them. But definitely right here, you can just see that glaze behind me. So there's no misconstruing whether or not there is ice out here. There definitely is.
Well, yesterday's high in Austin, Texas was just 30 degrees. Now, that may not sound cold to many people, but it's 37 degrees below the average high for the day. Vinny Martirano caught up with folks to see how they are handling this cold spell.
I hate it. It sucks.
I like the crisp air.
Freezing temperatures in Austin Wednesday didn't stop people from going outside. Some, like Ethan Cortez, had to walk to work. He says he's not happy with how fast the temperature dropped.
It feels like my hands are about to fall off. Like, it's pretty bad.
We made it over to Franklin Barbecue, one of Austin's most notorious barbecue joints. The freezing temperatures and the wind didn't stop people from taking part in the longtime tradition of waiting in a line stretching out the doors. The cold also didn't stop Larry Fitter from making the trip from North Dakota. He says it was 40 below when he left for Austin.
It's cool, but it's not near as bad back there as back there.
And we also continue to monitor the winter storm that's moving across the nation. This morning, winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings are still posted for eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, and large portions of Virginia and also North Carolina. The storm isn't expected to fully move offshore until later this afternoon. A dusting to several more inches could fall across that region. The area around Norfolk, Virginia received the most snow, some places approaching a foot, but most areas saw 6 to 8 inches. Across Kentucky and North Carolina, the snow comes at a terrible time for those areas that are still recovering from last week's flooding, not to mention Hurricane Helene that happened just last year. We have crews out covering current conditions in North Carolina and also Tennessee. Let's start with Andrew McClung in Greenville and eastern North Carolina.
As this system kind of moved into the Greenville area last night, it brought a lot of ice, so that ice and snow compacted together, and it really giving that crunch sound this morning when you're trying to walk. I mean, a lot of the driving, too, you can't even really see the tire impressions because it's just so much ice on the ground, too. So stay off the road unless you need to this morning. It's cold as well, so bundle up if you do have to go out. And again, clear off your car if you have to drive as well, too, because that ice is compacted down on the cars as well. If that flies off, I mean, that's some heavy stuff, can potentially damage your car or other cars nearby.
It is very, very cold. We are seeing pretty good snowfall here in Madison County. I know that's not the case for all the areas in western North Carolina, but really seeing it accumulate some on the ground here on the pavement. NCDOT, though, doing a good job keeping those main roadways pretty clear. That's the same thing that we saw on I-26 as we headed up to Madison County from Buncombe County. So good news there, but you still want to keep it slow. Watch out icy spots because the frigid temperatures, of course, can create that on the roadways. I'm going to give you another check of conditions, but right now, guys, no wind. Kind of enjoying this pretty snowfall here in Madison County.
So we're going to show you why some of these schools are closed today in Robertson County is because it's hard to, you can actually make out the double yellow line right here. We're sort of between Whites Creek Pike and the Ridgetop area in Greenbrier, and this is why the schools are closed. There's a obviously dusting of snow that Greg forecasted and has been talking about this morning, and it's slippery too, and it's cold out. And I was talking earlier about my confidence level driving yesterday morning versus today, and despite more accumulation yesterday, more snow yesterday, it's pretty similar because of the cold temps and sort of the unknown of when the last time some of these roads were actually treated, not just plowed, but treated with either brine or salt or whatever these Department of Public Works might be using. The Nashville roads were looking a little better in Davidson County, but up here in Robertson County, it's been sort of this story. If it's not the actual main strip through town or the main road, it is looking like this.
Well, it's a rescue that was captured on body camera video after crews pulled a snowmobiler out from several feet of snow. The man had been trapped there for more than an hour after being buried by an avalanche with only a small piece of his airbag sticking out as a clue to where he was. Evan Kruger reports.
This was the scene rescue crews arrived at Monday after two people on snowmobiles triggered an avalanche just west of Vail Pass. One of them called 911 and told dispatchers their friend had been buried.
You know, we were all just expecting the worst, really. I mean, it'd been an hour plus that the slide had happened.
Dave Wandell and a Summit County deputy started making their way up the hill.
And just out of the corner of my eye, I could see a little orange buried in the snow. And it was, you know, at first I thought it might have been trash. You know, something broke off from the snowmobile. Sure enough, it was an airbag and there was a pack attached to it. And the guy was there, dug down a few more feet. The guy was, could hear us. He told us he was okay. And we proceeded to dig him out. So, yeah, pretty amazing.
By that point, Dave says the man had been under 3 or 4 feet of snow for more than an hour.
Yeah, obviously had a full-face snowmobile helmet, which really helped protect his airway, you know, so snow wasn't packed into his mouth. And then I think the airbag, you know, just poking up out of the surface a little bit, you know, allowed a little more air coming into his face.
Dave has been a member of the Summit County Rescue Group for 15 years and has responded to dozens of avalanche rescues and recoveries. He says this one might be the most remarkable.
Probably so. Yeah, just because it's such a great outcome. Unexpected, for sure.
Another avalanche in Oregon didn't have the same happy ending. A husband and wife died in an avalanche near Broken Top Mountain. That's near Mount Bachelor and Bend. Officials say it's possible they triggered the avalanche while backcountry skiing on Monday. The local sheriff's office warns the avalanche dangers in that area is currently moderate to considerable. And check this out right here. Police in Connecticut rescued a baby seal that wandered far from the beach onto the streets of New Haven earlier this week. Now, authorities said the seal appeared to have an injured flipper. The animal was taken to a Connecticut aquarium for rehab. Experts at Mystic Aquarium estimate the baby male gray seal is just a few weeks old and apparently also underweight here. Once it recovers, they plan to release it back into the ocean. And for the latest weather news and videos, be sure to follow us on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk on your preferred social media platform. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, NOAA is beginning work on a new generation weather radar. We'll look at how it could change weather forecasting in the future. And we'll take a look at how first responders prepare for emergencies in freezing winter weather.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. We have more seasonably cool temperatures on the way in the Northeast. Today we should be in the 20s and low 30s after starting the day with temps in the single numbers for many areas. And the overall trend will be for increasing and thickening clouds. We're just going to miss out on a storm in the Northeast, with the storm staying a couple hundred miles off to our south and east. Best chance for snow showers will be in southern New England, particularly across Cape Cod. Will be some light accumulations. We'll have developing sun on Friday with 30s returning this weekend.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javeli. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Going into the end of this work week, we will be looking at still some light snow for the beginning of your Thursday morning, but finally ending towards your afternoon. It'll be windy and it will be pretty cold, but temperatures will start to rebound as we head later into this weekend. More sunshine to come on Friday. We'll be in the low 30s for your afternoon, but going into Friday afternoon, we'll be several degrees warmer, continuing this warming trend into next week.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Looks like South Florida is going to be the only part of our area that will experience temperatures even close to what afternoon highs should look like this time of year. Pretty much everywhere else experiencing some Arctic air pushing in from the north. We have temperatures in the afternoons reaching the 20s in the I-40 area, the 30s closer to I-20, and then we have the 40s and 50s along the Gulf Coast Peninsula. We are going to be tracking a few isolated snow showers still pushing out of the area.
Watching the National Weather Desk.
Buyers don't take winter breaks. The risk increases during the months where heating systems work harder. So home heating safety is very important. Meteorologist Grayson Front also tells us how firefighters manage to do their life-saving jobs even when temperatures are dangerously cold.
Naturally, given the winter weather, conditions are colder, things are icy, slippery, can definitely make our job challenging. We have to be very thoughtful of how we're moving, pulling hoses, moving people outside of a building, and keeping ourselves safe, because ultimately if we're not safe, we're not able to accomplish those tasks that we're there to do.
Snow and ice can make it difficult for fire trucks and engines to get where they need to go, but most have a special tool to help them navigate through tough, slippery terrain.
Our fire apparatus have an on-demand chain system, so when it's snowy or icy out, we can deploy those chains to help combat those poor road conditions.
But heavy snow or obstacles can still get in firefighters' way, delaying their response times.
Shoveling sidewalks up to your house allows us to get quickly and efficiently up to your house to fight those fires.
While it's important to stay warm, make sure you're doing so safely.
Fireplaces, any other sort of gas appliances, or any appliance for that matter, it's always good to get those routinely checked by a professional and make sure things like chimneys and all those types of appliances are cleaned out as well. If you're using space heaters, making sure they're plugged in directly to the wall. Don't use extension cords, other things like that to power those appliances. And make sure you keep all those combustible materials well away from those heating appliances.
Ice can be heavy, which can pose a danger to your home, especially if a layer of snow is on top of it. So how heavy can ice get on the roads and also on power lines? Meteorologist Violet Skybor explains.
Well, the weight of ice can be dangerous, not only for power lines, but on your roof. How much does this weigh, though? We got around 1/4 inch of ice for most places in central New York over the weekend, and that's around 1.4 pounds per square foot on a 1,500 square foot roof. 1/2 inch of ice is around 2.5 pounds per square foot, and 1 inch of ice is around 5 pounds per square foot. So across the entire roof in total. It's around 2,000 pounds from a quarter of an inch of ice, again, on a 1,500 square foot roof, which is roughly the weight of a small car. It's the weight of 2 small cars for half an inch of ice, and around a truck and a car's weight worth for an inch of ice on your roof, about 7,500 pounds. So that could lead to some roof damage, leaking, maybe even some roof collapse. And keep in mind, this is just ice weight. Adding snow on top of the roof can double, even triple that weight. Now, for power lines, how much does this ice weigh on it? It's a very thin line, but for a 300-foot-long power line that's about an inch in diameter, a quarter of an inch of ice can lead to 140 pounds of weight. Half an inch of ice, 281 pounds, and nearly 800 pounds on a power line from just an inch of ice. And that, combined with strong wind, is what causes power outages to occur.
And it's not just your home that can be impacted by winter weather. Your car can also suffer consequences in the cold if you don't take precautions ahead of time. Christina Santiago looks at how you could do what you can do to make sure your car is winter ready.
You're driving your vehicle every day. You're dependent on this vehicle. So if you're not informed about your vehicle's health, then it can lead to further issues.
Experts say before you head out into winter weather, check your battery, tire treads, and fluids. Auto shop manager Anthony Payne advises topping off coolant, using fuel additives, and letting your car warm up before driving. And just as important, pack an emergency kit in case you get stranded.
It may take some extra time for help to arrive, whether that's law enforcement or roadside service, because we also have to deal with the adverse weather and road conditions as well. So make sure that you pack blankets, a sleeping bag, some extra coats, hats, gloves, anything that can keep you warm, even a candle.
AAA recommends keeping a fully charged phone and having a plan for who to call if you get stranded.
Make a plan for what would happen if you do get stranded. If you slide off the road or get into a crash, who will you call? Will that be calling AAA if you're a member, calling your insurance, roadside service? Just have a plan in place and make sure that you have your cell phone with you and it's fully charged so you can call for help.
And cold weather is also one of the elements that helps potholes form. Meteorologist Lexi Horvath explains how it happens.
Right here on the rim, if you have a hard impact right here, it can cause a belt to break in the tire. It can cause a little divot in the wheel right here.
Mechanic Richmond Blackwell took us underneath this car, showing exactly where damage can occur when driving over a pothole.
So the slightest little bend in any of this can throw it out of alignment. And if you don't feel anything, it can cause tire wear, like on the insides.
An issue after a sudden thaw in temperatures. After the previous winter storm, water seeped into cracks in the asphalt, then refreezed into ice. Now that is warmed up, ice melts, then evaporates, leaving space between the asphalt and roadbed. Cars push the asphalt down into the gap and a pothole is created.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, is beginning work on a new generation weather radar. Meteorologist Joe DiCarlo has more on the program and how it could change weather forecasting in the future.
Radar has been an intricate part of weather forecasting for decades, and it's about to undergo a major transformation.
The goals of the Radar Next program is to design and deploy the next generation weather surveillance radar.
Matthew Brady is lead meteorologist for the National Weather Service office in New Braunfels. He and a team of meteorologists use computer models and radar on a daily basis. Radar was first used in weather forecasting in 1942.
There's an antenna that's constantly rotating around and sending out the pulses. And once it hits that target, the precipitation target in the storm, it'll come back here, and that's how we get our data.
The current generation of radar was built in 1988 and implemented in the 90s.
Their initial service life was for 20 years. However, we've done some programs to actually extend those that service life.
However, it is now anticipated that the current radar will degrade by the mid to late 2030s. This is why a new program, the Radar Next program, is underway to develop the next generation radar.
The program is expected to be fully implemented and operational by 2040. 40.
Right now, it is still in the design phase and figuring out users' needs. Meteorologists are hopeful it will lead to
better tornado warnings, better lead times to those tornado warnings.
The Radar Next program has 3 pillars: a continuation of data, improved data quality, performance and speed, and greater coverage.
Better data quality, resolution, and also more timely scans.
Wow! What these advancements mean to the public: quicker notice of dangerous weather.
Quicker scans, better resolution to the scans, and it allows us to get our weather warnings out there faster and more lead time for you to get to safety.
There are still a lot of unknowns with the project since its implementation is almost 15 years away. Advancements in model data and the possibility of AI being used in weather forecasting is yet to be seen.
And time now for a short break, but first we soar over Boston, Massachusetts.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. A lot of sunshine across the plains, but we do have some pockets of snow showers across the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes there. But as we continue into the afternoon, again, a lot of sunshine, very cold, only getting up to about 8 for the high in Sioux City today. As we continue into the day tomorrow, the temperatures slowly warming up for your Friday and even more so on Saturday. Looks good for any traveling.
Well, a good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Ucci. Look at our forecast today across the region. Starting off with those bitter cold temperatures, and feels colder when you factor in the wind. The afternoon, mostly to partly sunny, an extremely cold day, way below normal by about 20 to 25 degrees colder than normal. Friday is another very cold day in the teens and 20s. Some increase in cloudiness. Could see a little light wintry mix development in parts of Texas late day Friday.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. I'm tracking a storm system that's going to push its way in towards the Pacific Northwest with high pressure building across the inland Northwest. Snow showers will be passing in Salt Lake City as well as Denver, and most areas across the desert Southwest will remain dry. High temperatures will be 80 degrees today in Phoenix, in the upper 60s in LA, San Diego, below freezing in Denver, and in the upper 40s in Seattle. That's the scene from here.
Watching the National Weather Desk.
Yesterday, snow fell in Austin, Texas, but the shape of the snowflakes was not typical. The flakes looked more like needles. Meteorologist Avery Tomasco posted about it yesterday on Facebook. Take a look.
I'm meteorologist Avery Tomasco, and it is snowing this morning in Austin, Texas. Not your normal kind of snow, though. Check it out. This is all accumulating lightly as needles. Yes, needle-shaped snowflakes, not your usual kind of six-pointed dendrite, pretty-looking snowflakes. The reason is pretty simple. Usually when we talk about snow chances, that snow is forming 10, 15,000 feet above our heads where it's much colder. Now here at the surface, it is obviously cold, but not as cold as snowflakes would like. While it's cold, it's also humid, so these snowflakes are not forming in the higher elevations of the atmosphere. Instead, they're forming very close to the surface. It's made them very sneaky. They kind of snuck into this forecast, but it also leads to this very unique snow shape. Literally needles. I gotta tell you, it feels like needles too. Good gravy as it's cold.
Well, looking for more weather content just like this, you can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.